Ways to be continued about my supplies. Some music. Fish my supplies. Payload. But the twister. So, oh my god. I could picture of my flashlight. The way of coach. Tyros. Yeah. Personality. And master. Yeah, and just some modern titan.
Metasploit is an advanced platform for developing, testing, and using exploit code. The project initially started off as a portable network game and has evolved into a powerful tool for penetration testing, exploit development, and vulnerability research. Actually, the Metasploit framework maintained by Rapid 7. Now to getting started with Metasploit, open your terminal MSF console. Press enter. Now it will start the Metasploit framework. So you can see that it is now started, and as you can see we are seeing these ASCII code or ASCII arts. We can run MSF console or Metasploit console using -q command, which is quiet. So this is to run it without the ASCII arts, like this. As you can see, currently I am inside MSF console. Now, this is just to getting started. In the next lectures, we will start learning the syntax of the MSF console. Metasploit is an advanced platform for developing, testing, and using exploit code. The project initially started off as a portable network game and has evolved into a powerful tool for penetration testing, exploit development, and vulnerability research. Actually, the Metasploit framework maintained by Rapid 7. Now to getting started with Metasploit, open your terminal MSF console. Press enter. Now it will start the Metasploit framework. So you can see that it is now started, and as you can see we are seeing these ASCII code or ASCII arts. We can run MSF console or Metasploit console using -q command, which is quiet. So this is to run it without the ASCII arts, like this. As you can see, currently I am inside MSF console. Now, this is just to getting started. In the next lectures, we will start learning the syntax of the MSF console. Metasploit is an advanced platform for developing, testing, and using exploit code. The project initially started off as a portable network game and has evolved into a powerful tool for penetration testing, exploit development, and vulnerability research. Actually, the Metasploit framework maintained by Rapid 7. Now to getting started with Metasploit, open your terminal MSF console.
What the hell? Why? Yeah. Will fit head the subrouter. Fetch this.
Okay, now when we open the MSApp console, as we learned previously, now here we will use the show command -h. This is to show us, as you can see, we can see that we have the command and the valid parameters like encoder, exploit, payload, auxiliaries, both plugins, info options, favorites, whatever. Okay, so these actually the categories for the Metasploit framework. All right. Okay, so we will use the use command, and we will use the auxiliary this time. Okay, so auxiliary from here slash, and we will use scanner slash, we will use port scan slash TCP. Okay, so we are using from the auxiliary scanner port scan TCP. Okay, now we are selecting the auxiliary scanner port scan. Now to unselect it or deselect it, we will use the back command or the previous command. So back, you can see that we are not using anymore. Here it is. We are not using.
We are not using anymore.
Anything. Okay, again, let's use it again. Now this time we want to use not TCP, we want to use sync, for example, or syn, like that. So if I type back, you can see that it will return back to the previous. Okay, to without using anything. Now another command which is using the previous. So use sync, then use TCP. Now if I type previous like this, you can see that I was on the TCP before I used the syn. Now from the TCP I return back to the previous one, which is the syn. Okay, so back to return back to not using anything, as you can see. But the previous will show us the previous option or the previous usage. So previous, if you keep pressing previous, you can see that it will show us the previous module we are using. Okay, now in our case we want the TCP, show options. Now this is another command to show the options for this auxiliary. So you can see that the options, the concurrency, delay, jitter, as you can see, are the boards, the R host, threads, timeouts, whatever. Now we want to change or to set this value, the R host, so we are using the set command. Okay, so set R host and put the IP address of the victim machine. So let's use this one for example, or use whatever you want. Actually, in my case, I want to use my IP address, which is this one. Okay, by using by the way, I'm using ifconfig command. This is to show us the information about the interfaces, which is this one, and this is the IP. So I will put it here like that, and now we are using auxiliary, this auxiliary, the port scanner TCP for this host. Now we want to run it. Okay, to run this. So run, and it will start scanning for ports. Now you can see that it has complete the execution of the module completed, and we have this port TCP 22 the SSH and HTTP TCP, which is 80. All right, cool. So far, okay. Now when we open the MSF console, as we learned previously, now here we will use the show command -h. This is to show us, as you can see, we can see that we have the command and the valid parameters like encoder, exploit, payload, auxiliaries, boss plugins, info options, favorites, whatever. Okay, so these actually the categories for the Metasploit framework. All right, okay, so we will use the use command, and we will use the auxiliary this time. Okay, so auxiliary from here slash, and we will use scanner slash, we will use port scan slash TCP. Okay, so we are using from the auxiliary scanner port scan TCP. Okay, now we are selecting the auxiliary scanner port scan. Now to unselect it or deselect it, we will use the back command or the previous command. So back, you can see that we are not using anymore. Here it is, we are not using anything. Okay, again, let's use it again. Now this time we want to use not TCP, we want to use sync, for example, or syn, like that. So if I type back, you can see that it will return back to the previous. Now we are okay to command HTTP, which is 80. All right. Okay, now from the previous lecture, we saw that when we set the R host to our IP and we find these as open ports. Okay, now what if I want to see what are the histories, okay, or the results of the TCP scan that we ran in the previous lecture? How to show that? We will use the services. By the way, you can see that there are no databases connected. So Control D to quit from this. Sudo, we will type the MSF DB init. So you can see that now we are starting a database. All right, now again, let's open the MSF console. Now if I type services, you can see that now we have services. But by the way, because we need to run again the previous thing or the previous scan, so auxiliary scanner port scan TCP.
Wait. Okay, we continue.
Set R host, and to get it ifconfig, copy paste, put it here. Now run, and the previous things as we saw which is port 22 and port 80. Now type services. You can see that, yeah, this will show us all the results that we have done. So for example, if I set the R host to be on something else like this and run again, by the way, because this is not a real target, so if I run services again, nothing will be recorded here because we didn't find anything open as a port. Now services, we have this options -h. This is to give us all the flags and parameters, as you can see with the usage. A to add services instead of searching, D, U, P, whatever. All right. Okay, cool. Now also we have the hosts command. So this is to show us what is the host being recorded. Okay. Now what we find is that we have this host, which is our machine, my IP address machine. Now we have for the services itself, if I want to search, remember when I type it, you can see that we find port 22 and port 80. So if I want to have the port 22 only, like for all the hosts that recorded on port 22, I can -p then the port. So this is the result of the 22 or SSH connections. Okay. Now again, we can have the workspace command. So by default, as you can see, we have workspace. Now workspace, let's put test. You can see that workspace not found. So to add or delete, we need to put -a for add or -d for delete. By the way, if you type -h, it will show us everything. So like these. So workspace, list the workspace, -v for verbosely, more verbosely, to output more information, -a, -d capital, -r, -h to show the help. Okay, so for example, workspace, -a test. Now if I type -v this time, you can see that we have test and it has 0 host, 0 services, vulnerability creds, loot, notes, whatever. This is workspace -v, but workspace alone, this will show us just the name of the workspace. Okay. By the way, to delete it, -d test. So as you can see, it is deleted and it will switch to the default. So workspace, you can see that now it is default. Okay, cool. So far so good. So a recap for what we learned. So to start capturing and record everything into a database, first we need to run this command. Before we run the MSF console, make sure to run this command, which is msfdb init. So this is to initialize the database by using a sudo for it. Then open the MSF console after you initialize the database. Then start running the port scan, the modules you want, whatever, and then typing the services command as we learned, and the hosts command, and the services to see more option -h. And here we can see that we can use the -p to find a specific port, like when we saw previously, as we used on port 22, and we can use the hosts as well, and we can use the workspace to have a separate workspace. -e for add, -d for delete, -h to see more options. As you can see that we have -v and -d capital, and -r for renaming. All right, cool. So far so good. Now keep that in your mind. This will be very handy. As you can see, use the as after command capture switch host, okay, or verbosely delete. Not well, we have for the sorted, okay, -at nothing all config. Now use the services. By the way, you can see up the code and the host and say we have 20. If you trace vulnerabilities and to HV. Okay, now Now for the auxiliary that we used the port scanner from the previous lectures. Now to list all of the auxiliary modules, we will use the show auxiliary. So aux like this, and here you will notice that we have all the thing, all the auxiliary. So we can choose from this. Now again, we can search about it using the search command -h to see to have options. So you can see that here is the search command -o as capital U as whatever. Also, we can have examples like for the CVE and the type of the module, like auxiliary, exploit, whatever. So for example, let's have this search. The type we want it to be auxiliary, like this, and the name will be SMB, for example. As you can see, nothing found. Yeah, I have made a mistake here, actually, auxiliary, like this. So yeah, you can see that now we find everything regarding or related to the SMB and auxiliary. So we can use whatever we want. So let's search about SMB2. We didn't find it as we want. No problem. Let's use bin scanner, then SMB, then SMB2, like this. You can see that we didn't find it. No problem. We can choose anything. So let's choose this SMB upload file, whatever. Okay, so use it, copy paste and use it, as simple as that. Now use the info. So here the info is the same as show options, okay, but with different outputs, okay. And then after you set the rhost, the lpath, whatever argument. By the way, you can see that we have the required field. So if it is yes, you should provide a value. If no, it is an optional. Okay, that's it. Now don't worry, actually the Metasploit is a very huge topic, and there are a huge or massive amount of auxiliary, exploits, payload, whatever, but we will learn how to use them and how to search for what we want exactly. No problem. Now for the...
And the last to be start into the end.
Okay, now it's time to talk about...
Reunion.
Now the interpreter is a multifunction payload that can be dynamically extended at runtime. So this means that the interpreter shell provides more features and functionality than a regular command shell. Okay, so let's search for interpreter. Okay, and the type will be payload. And here it is. You can see that. And for example, let's have the windows, for example, these ones, as you can see. So we want to use the exploit Windows HTTP Think Breeze BOF. Okay, as you can see, this one. Now let's set the payload to the Windows Interpreter reverse HTTP. By the way, it is reverse TCP. This is the default one. No problem. Now show options. Here you can see that we have the R hosts. So let's set R hosts to something else. By the way, this must be a Windows machine, but I will not use this. I will use my local machine just to show you, okay, the basics. Now after it is done, we can run both the run command or exploit, the same thing. By the way, this will not work. Why is that? Because this is for Windows machine, and I am putting my IP address, which is a Linux machine, obviously. But I'm just showing you how to do such a thing. Now, no worries. In the lab sections, the practical hands-on, we will have a depth detailed how to do such a thing and how to use Metasploitable in a real attacks. Okay. Now this is just an example. Okay, how to do and how to search for it. By the way, you can see that, yeah, no session were created because not suitable for this target, the exploit. So what we learned today is just keep that in your mind, that we can search for exploits and use the payload and set it so we can use it as we want.
Okay, done.
Okay, now it's time to talk about me.
Finally, we are into about on session in security, cyber security about basic. And here it's about lab. The lab for your learning. For lab, I will put it into about slide, and you can accept it. Yeah. Lab you work by yourself. If I have a time, I will work it and I will upload my video clip to show on the lab for you. You can it maybe it a suggestion for you, and I will say it in my laptop. My laptop. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for your subscribe and for uh, s- your support, supporting to me. And goodbye and good luck to you for a journey in the cyber security and video.